Hey, my name is David M. Booher, and you might know me from the comics like Ghostbusters, Dungeons & Dragons, Canto, and a bunch of others. And I'm here to tell you that your childhood was, in fact, trash if you didn't watch Neverending Story. Yeah! I absolutely refuse to talk about Neverending Story on this episode. We are only going to talk about Goonies.
Yes.
Oh, wait, you're recording?
So continue what you were saying, because that's a pretty impressive collection.
All right, so we're supposed to be talking about Neverending Story, is my understanding. I've been given some notes ahead of time, but I am refusing to take those notes. So I'm going to start off with Goonies.
Yeah.
I was such a fan as a kid. It came out in 1985, I believe, which
Yeah.
I was 6, so I was a little young to see it in the theaters, but I got to see it in all of its glory on cable about 100,000 times as I was growing up. And as we were talking before we recorded, I played Nintendo in the 80s as a kid. I'm still a retro gamer. I love it. It's like my NES is my jam. And so my personal collection, I'm going to show you a little bit of my personal collection because I don't collect a lot of video games from the time. It's just too much stuff. But I do have Goonies. And if we got any retro gamers listening to this, it is the 5-screw Goonies, which we're going to nerd out on NES. The early cartridges on NES were 5-screw with no clips on the top. They changed to 3 screws. So they took those screws out and made like plastic clips to put the clamshell together. So the early version of the NES Goonies 2 is the 5-screw right here, baby.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
We'll put that. Wait. The tour continues, and then I have another one in the box right here. This is the original box.
See, that's
for the NES game. It's a little beat up because you can't find. I haven't been able to find the like really good condition NES box that is the right for the 5-screw. So that's my goal. But in case that's not enough, because it's not enough, right, guys? It's not enough.
No, anymore.
So here's the Japanese Famicom Goonies 2. Can you see that graphic on there? This is Fratelli. Ma Fratelli's down there, and Mikey's up in the top. And then here it is, and it's a little box. That's Goonies 2.
Beautiful.
We're good enough. We're good enough, folks. Yes, so that's my tour of Goonies. And we're not. Yeah, I have such a soft spot for the 8-bit Cyndi Lauper song that's in the video game.
Oh, it's amazing.
I remember.
That's cool. We don't have to talk about. We don't have to talk
the
about
first one and hearing that, and I was like, because the first one is just Mikey with a yo-yo, right?
The Goonies 1.
Yeah.
So I've personally never played Goonies 1. Goonies 2 does have Mikey and a yo-yo. I've never played Goonies 1. It only came out in Japan. It never came to the States.
Then it's got to be Goonies 2 that I played. Like, I remember renting it from insert local video game rental place, back when that was a thing that was outside of Redbox. And renting it, and like all those games were insanely ridiculously hard because it's just you're just jumping around. You have a yo-yo. That's it. Yeah. Like that's it. That's it.
That's it. There's waterfalls. There's Fratellis running around shooting you. There's spiders. There's snakes. There's all kinds of stuff. And then in the game, for me, you go into these rooms and they're like 3-dimensional, and you're like your POV. So you turn, you go into, kind of like Doom, if you remember Doom.
Yeah.
And the floor, the ceiling, and each wall could potentially reveal to you like a hidden area if you hit it. So you'd have to go into these rooms, and you literally have to do like 6 things in every room to check every single door, every floor, every ceiling. I'm so glad I was a kid. Yes,
I remember
there's no booze involved either.
But it was just a huge, like, the game itself was difficult. That was my thing. Like, it wasn't like Super Boots or anything. Like, it was just Mikey and the Yo-Yo, and it making everything that much more difficult. And me being very angry at that game when as a kid, because I didn't have the know-how I have at 40.
Have we raked up some trauma, Nick?
Oh yeah. Well, no. So a little bit, because
I was going to say some deep-seated
everyone
like
everyone has
right
some trauma from early Nintendo games. Like you can't be a child of the 80s and not have trauma from the Nintendo.
It's 100% accurate.
But that's okay, because those games were made to withstand a lot more, or hold up a lot longer, is really what I was trying to say, because they're difficult, because you were getting everything in 3 seconds, and you have a new game of the year coming out next week and everything like that. And the games were a lot of fun. They were super difficult, and they're just an absolute blast.
They're still fun. I have my retro console that I play. Like these original carts, I can put into my retro console and play the original carts on them, and I love doing it. And one epiphany I had as an adult, going back to these 8-bit games. If you had, as a kid, if I had even the tiniest bit of patience, the tiniest bit, I would have done so much better. But it's like these sprites, they do the same thing every single time. And every time Mario just jumps right into their faces. I'm like, if I would have had just a little bit of patience as a kid, I would not have this adult PTSD.
Right?
I would not have it.
Well, listen, Mario's one thing, because Mario, like, a lot of that is like pattern recognition. But then you get the shit like, the Turtles game, where everyone remembers that underwater level with the electric vines, and like that doesn't matter how much patience you had. That is the thing of nightmares that, like, I think grown adults nowadays wake up in cold sweats over still.
I mean, there's an entire movie dedicated to Nintendo games, and there's an actual scene of an adult getting very angry at that video game scene.
I forgot about that. We should have done the Wizard. That would have been fun.
You'll have to come back. We'll do the Wizard.
Okay, we promise. Then I'll just bring out
his first movie.
I'm not even kidding. We'll do the Wizard. Is actually one of my favorite movies. And when we were at Granite Con this past weekend, one of the artists there he created a pin for it, and it's the Power Glove, and it just says it's the Power Glove, but it says "so bad" on it, and I was like, oh, that gets it right there.
That's great. I just saw somebody post, that the artist who did the art, the box art for TMNT, the original NES game, somebody posted that he got like a bunch of carts and did like remarks, like drawings on the carts of the Turtles. And he's like, I just wanted to try this. And he brought it to Baltimore Comic-Con, and he said he sold them all of them within an hour of the show starting.
Not even
like, I would have bought one.
No. That wasn't Steve, was it? Because I know Steve did the arcade cabinet.
Yeah, Steve Levine did arcade, and Turtles 2, the arcade stuff. But see, that's the perfect thing, because I go for I have a lot of signatures and stuff like that. Like, this is a record right here, signed by Jay and Silent Bob. Like, I've got,
sweet,
pop figures, but like, I go for interesting things. So I have an actual VHS tape signed by some of the cast of Mallrats. This past weekend, I added a second signature to my Turtles 2 Laserdisc.
That's great.
right? Like I go for those weird off the wall things, and that's my jam. So like a Nintendo cart with a remark, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds
So
cool.
good.
Now,
Well, and it's that TMNT game is pretty common as far as a NES card.
Yeah.
So you can buy them for $10, and then he draws on
yeah,
them and sells them for 100, and that's it.
Yeah.
Do a bunch.
I mean, it's just that's a cool thing to like cool collector thing to have, and then to have the remark on it. Like that's definitely an interesting concept, and I like it.
I'm still super jealous of the Goonies 2 cartridge in box, because anybody
I think anyone would be.
who
That's pretty fantastic.
anybody who collects video games, right? Like it's not even like in the box. You've got like a nice protector on it, and like
Makes it look so nice.
It
Shiny.
does. It's shiny. It's gorgeous.
Shiny.
But that's
Wait
that's
until you see, Nick, what I got for Neverending Story.
Fantastic. What have you got for Neverending Story?
How'd you like that segue to segment 2?
That was hot. 7 out of 10.
Coming in hot.
We'll
7
do an
out of
optical
10.
flip here.
Get out of here.
Right.
This is
we gotta see the goods first before you can get above a 7. So
okay, so this is a first print of VHS, and it's signed by Atreyu himself to me.
That's awesome.
VHS.
That's so good.
And it's in its fancy
badass.
protector.
Yeah!
I have an identical twin brother who his company is called Collector Protector. I'm going to shout him out. With a K, Collector Protector, and he makes all these protectors for VHS for the video games, like retro gaming. These hard cases.
Yeah. That's cool.
The end like slips off. So anyway,
nice. Okay.
So it's a commercial for my brother's company. But there you go. There's my VHS.
I've actually heard of it.
Collector Protector?
Because I've been looking. Yeah, because I've been looking for something for my VHS tapes. So I search, and I was like, those are kind of cool with the slidey thing on the bottom, and I'm a part of way
these
too many
acrylic
forums.
cases are fantastic. They've got like a little magnetic seal to them. So this was a prototype cool. for the Famicom game in the box. Since they're all like different unique sizes. Yeah, Nick, you reach out to him and you drop my name.
Will do.
Hopefully he'll acknowledge that he knows me, that we may be related in some way.
He's gonna charge Nick double now.
Aw.
Then I get the overage. It's a kickback.
Oh, there you go. Oh, see, I see what it is. It's a payoff. I got it. It's all right though.
Cool. It's a referral.
Right. Referral fee.
But anyway, what I was going to say about this VHS is my brother actually has one that's identical. It's the same first print, and it says "To Jeff," and it's signed by Atreyu. So we have like matching VHS because we both loved this movie when we were kids. Just adored it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Is that another one that you saw years later on cable? I'm assuming since that
so that was 84. So I was 5 in 84. That was a little bit. Can you imagine watching the Swamps of Sadness as a 5-year-old?
Yes, because
you did.
Sure I did.
Probably did, yeah.
Because I mean, so the movie came out in 84. At 5, I would have been. It would have been 89, and if I remember correctly, the second movie came out not too long after that.
People dogged that second movie, and I loved it. It came out in 1990. I loved that movie.
Yeah, no,
I wish you have a heart.
I think my biggest complaint about the Neverending Story trilogy was always like the changing cast. Even as a kid, I always caught on to it, and then didn't the third? I think the third one had the kid from Free Willy in it, right?
The one that got eaten by the orca?
No, that was the movie Orca. That movie was fantastic too.
I was going to say, Free Willy would have been better if Willy was the kid and he was inside the stomach of the whale. And that was the whole movie, was freeing
It's
Willie
like
from
Ahab.
yes,
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. But it's like Jaws, so like the kids half digested.
Oh man. I mean,
Also,
this sounds like the birth of a new horror comic series that's going to be coming out.
Let's do a horror movie. Free
Orca
Willy.
2.
Orca 2, the new batch.
I was going to go with Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Back in the habit.
Now we're on the Gremlins. Come on.
Back in the
Wail harder.
Oh my God.
That is a Neverending Story, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. I think I actually saw somebody dressed up as Falcor at GraniteCon.
I didn't.
How does one dress up as Falcor? Are there multiple?
A furry Falcor?
A group cosplay?
Yeah. No, I think it was just one person with like, he was kind of like wrapped around him, the person. So like the tail was kind of off to the side and the head was kind of up here. And I'm pretty sure it was Falcor. And I was kind of impressed myself. I could be completely wrong. And generic.
Was he a person? Dragon. Like with the dragon wrapped around?
Yeah. Bastian.
I'm like, it was Bastian getting anacondaed by Falcor.
But it was real bad. It was actually Bastian. He was just walking around. No.
You should see what Atreyu looks like now. Like hardcore punk.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes you don't meet your idols because you're like, what happened to the androgynous kid who saved Fantasia?
Listen, the death of Artax like broke us all. How do you think he survived that? He didn't. Okay, deep depression. The swamp of sorrow.
They did one take. They had one horse. They did one take. They filmed it all in order. They filmed every scene in order because they after that scene, for nobody explains why, but they never had that horse again.
It's like, do you ever remember the Daffy Duck cartoon where he's like trying to sell a magic trick? And he finally gets an audience in front of the judges, and it's like a potion. And he drinks it, and a big poof happens, and then he's like a ghost. And like, that's incredible. He's like, yeah, the only downfall is I can only do it once because he killed himself.
That's a funny. That's really edgy. God, I like that. I love that.
Old Looney Tunes when it was edgy and stuff. But yeah, that's probably what happened with the horse. They're like, all right, we're drowning this bitch. We got one take.
One horse. We got one horse, one take. Atreyu, save this. You're out here saving everybody. Save this take.
There you go. Yeah, I saw an update to him recently, and that's when they were like, "This is Atreyu now," and I was like, "Who? That's not what I was expecting." But all right,
yeah, right.
But wherever you are, if you ever listen to this, actor who portrayed Atreyu, who I cannot remember what your name is right now. Is it Noah? It was Noah Hathaway. Yeah, it's Noah Hathaway.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, we love you. Thank you for your contribution to
yes.
all of our.
Oh no! Just so we're
collective.
Clear, David's correct. No, we have no love loss or anything. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what? That's just not what I was expecting. Because every once in a while,
he's like, none of you all look like you did when you were 13. So lay off me.
No.
Listen, I think it's full circle because there's like a punk band that was, or not punk, but like alternative punk that was inspired by that, and the band was called Atreyu.
Oh yes, if you Google that, the band comes up. See,
yeah, so
permeating
full
pop
circle.
Culture, permeating pop culture.
I mean, my friends and I, even not too long ago, we used that line that says, where it's like, when he's yelling for Falcor, he's like Falcor, and then it's like Atreyu, and I don't know why we use it. It's just kind of like it's just one of those things that's just kind of
It's
stuck
your call and
around.
response. It's calling your call and response in the crowd. They lose you,
Exactly.
Nick. Falcor.
Atreyu.
When was the last time you actually watched the first movie?
It was earlier today, of course.
Oh, was it? You brushed up?
No, probably.
No.
I mean, I've seen it so many times. Probably in the last 2 years, I want to say, when the thing happened in 2020 that that freed up everybody's time to watch movies. I watched a lot of these. I rewatched Goonies and Neverending Story and Gremlins and Ghoulies and House and all of these fabulous 80s movies.
I scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I was horrifying. There was a movie, I'm going to describe it so vaguely that you guys are not going to know what this is. It was like this was almost my idea for our podcast episode. I was going to go with mini monsters and do Gremlins, Ghoulies, and Critters. And that would have been so fun to do that. But there was this other movie around that time. It was a little it was like this big. It was a puppet, and it had ears and had like a wolfish face. And they found it because it was a statue that got electrocuted and it came to life.
Trilogy of Terror?
No, it wasn't Trilogy of Terror. I'm familiar with that one. I can't remember what it was. It was so ridiculous, and I watched it as a kid. Little tiny, like a foot tall, terrible puppetry. So it didn't even walk like Grogu, which is not like walking at all.
No.
God,
Hovering.
what was it? We'll have to figure it out. But I watched that recently, and I've forgotten I watched it as a kid, and it's trauma. So, more trauma.
It really is. Like, you know, Mike mentioned Artax dying in the mud, in the mud pit, right?
Swamp of Sorrow.
The Swamp of Sorrow. It's been a minute, but that stays with you.
And it's not even that. I think it's the Swamps of Sadness.
Oh, is it?
I well actually do, Mike. Well, actually.
Oh,
watch me be wrong.
Listen.
Look, Artax died. From getting stuck, and we've all been traumatized since. But that was what happened. Is like the 80s was full of movies that did that, though, right? Like you felt bad for all these. You're like, oh crap, I'm dealing with this as a child, and then in the 90s wasn't sometimes better. Like I forget what year Howard the Duck came out, but watching that as a child, I was like I go back now, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have watched that movie as a child. But,
I loved it.
I mean, I did too, but I
don't remember saying that.
It's definitely about
it was human people, and then there was a duck. You don't remember that?
And there was a duck trying
I just don't remember. Yeah, and he has sex with one of the girls. I know. I've heard.
Thompson.
Don't spend 0 minutes thinking about that. Like how that all came to pass. Also, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? When they melted the shoe, it was a freaking cartoon.
You're like, oh my god.
Yeah. There's trauma. I feel like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Neverending Story, Return to Oz, all of these movies, they had such a dark edge to them. And
they were so good.
And they're so good. And, nowadays, studios, I love you, studios. You're amazing because I work for them. But they just don't do that edginess for kids anymore.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. Everything is happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's why we go, like, Mike and I have actually both done this, where we just go back and we show our kids those movies, right? Like, I've talked about it before. We have a whole spinning wheel where we pick genre and time period of movies, and we come up with a whole bunch of random movies, and then we subject my 11-year-old to them, and then he loves them. So it
Is he
works
tied
out.
is he tied to the chair with the
Yeah,
his
obviously.
eyes peeled open.
as he
Yeah.
should.
But
It's straight up Clockwork Orange.
That's why I asked when the last time you watched the movie was, because my daughter's 6 and I'm trying to expose her to, all the old classics. And I got her to watch this within the past year. And
At 6?
yeah. Listen, she watches way more than she should. Okay, I'll admit I'm not a good dad. All right, PG-13. That's a suggestion. You're good.
You're either not good or the best, and we're gonna find out in about 10 years.
Yes, we'll see. Listen, I tell her I love her every single day, so hopefully she doesn't sleep around. Okay, but it wasn't what I remembered.
She's
to be
gonna bring
honest,
home a duck. She's gonna bring home a duck.
You're gonna bring home a duck. I'm not letting her watch Howard the Duck. No. It wasn't what I remembered. Like, I watched it and it wasn't
what Neverending Story.
Yeah, and I didn't like it as much as I did as like a kid. Where like I can watch The Goonies today, and it's still one of my favorite movies. I can watch Labyrinth, still one of my favorite movies. I can watch Dark Crystal, still one of my favorite movies. But then I watched The Neverending Story with her, and I was like, I remember all this, but it's kind of falling flat for me.
I know you guys said that this was going to go about 90 minutes, but I feel like this podcast is over.
Don't look at me.
I didn't say it's terrible. I didn't say it's terrible. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't.
I'm just messing.
It wasn't what I remembered, and I don't know why, but like, I have those fond memories of Atreyu and like Falcor as a kid, and the land of Fantasia. But when I watched it as an adult, it didn't connect, right? Like, from what I saw as a kid to what I saw as an adult, it seemed like I was watching a different movie. Personally, that's my own individual experience with it, obviously. But was it
this, like, the story just didn't grab you as an adult? Was it that you felt like there were parts missing? I'm just curious.
I think I felt like it was a little bit like disjointed and like kind of like all over the place.
Well, see, here's it. So there's such an interesting trend. We watch like all the Star Wars movies, from 77 all the way through the new ones, and you watch like A New Hope, and then you watch like Phantom Menace, right? We did the same thing with Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters. I think you watch the originals, and then you watch these new sort of sequels. The originals during this time, the plots are so linear. They're so point A to point B to point C. A New Hope for Star Wars, the plot is so simple. It's just like this thing, this event leads to the next one, leads to the next one. And I think movies nowadays, they have all these different plots and everything's weaving in and out. So I think sometimes I find myself getting sort of like taken aback at how little like plot, not that there's not a lot of plot, you know what I mean? It's just, it's so linear that my brain is not used to that in movies. My brain is used to like keeping track of a bunch of different things.
I mean, that could have been it. I think it was probably me looking for more substance, right? Or like more like, depth or like character building. That's probably, I mean, that's probably a good explanation.
You wanted to know how the Rockbiter's childhood was. Did he get bullied by bigger Rockbiters when he was?
That's how he got such a that's how he got such a thick skin, right? He got bullied. That's how he got such a thick skin.
Oh, 10 out of 10. No notes. You just
So
wanted
I
that. You
think
wanted the flashback. You wanted the flashback. You wanted to know about Artax's family and who he left behind.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
swamps
yes,
of
yes.
sadness.
And why are those rock creatures cannibals, right? Like, come on.
hey, there's only
They
so
only eat
much.
their young. They only eat the young.
Right? They'll eat the pebbles and like.
I think maybe you just went into watching that with poor expectations there, Mike.
I mean, that could be it too.
Because I mean, David's not wrong. Like the plot to a lot of those movies was a relatively more simplistic thing, but they did a lot more with everything outside of it to the making it a lot more enjoyable. Now there's still a lot of movies that come out nowadays that are very good and very enjoyable and stuff like that, but if you go back and watch most of those movies, it's very rarely do you come across a movie where it's like there's more than one thing going on. It's kind of weaving it around.
And nowadays you got movies that have too much going on where you could take half of it out and the plot still remains.
100%, 100%. And I think it's filmmakers worrying. It's like this vicious cycle where filmmakers worry there's not enough going on, the audience isn't going to be engaged, and so they put a lot more stuff. And then the audience is like, okay, well now I expect all this stuff, and now filmmakers have to put all this stuff in because that's what the audience expects. So instead,
like
look back at these movies like Goonies. Goonies was not. I know this. I know you're covering it on a different podcast. I know I'm not allowed to talk about it, but
no,
we're talking about
I didn't
Goonies.
say that.
There was a gun
but
earlier.
We'll always talk about Goonies.
It was just it was so clever. It was so clever for all sorts of reasons, especially when you're watching as a kid. But in particular, when it's plotted out, it's just like this clue leads to this clue leads to this room leads to this thing. They have to solve this puzzle, and then they get to eventually a hidden pirate ship that they were basically living on top of. And that's like every kid's dream, that they're going to go down. They're going to like. I this is really a deep dive, but this is like my brain. I never have grown out of this. Do you guys remember Encyclopedia Brown?
Yeah.
Do you remember the show?
Yeah.
There was a show in the first episode, the pilot episode of Encyclopedia Brown. He has to solve this mystery of who stole these bikes, and it ultimately leads him to finding out that the town statue in the middle of this small town, you like put, I forget exactly what the mechanism is, but you turn something, you touch something, you push something, and the plaque for the statue opens, and he finds something in there from the town founder. And I'm just like, I grew up in a town where I would go out and I would be like, heck yeah, there's a secret tunnel under the town square.
Yeah.
You know, there's a pirate ship that we just have to find it. So the idea in that movie that all you needed was that concept, and you just did the plot, you just did this adventure. You don't have to like cut away from different things. We don't need to know these kids, you know, family lives. We don't need to know any of that stuff. All we need to know is they're going to lose the house if they don't get a pirate ship, and they find a pirate ship, and bad guys are coming after them.
I've wanted to go down that water slide since I first saw that movie.
Did you ever see the cut with the octopus?
Oh yeah. That was only played on TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I saw it, when it sticks the transistor. I think I saw it, and then I ran to my brother, who was in another room, and I was like, "Did you know there was an octopus in this movie?" And Data pushes a transistor radio into its mouth to get away. He's like, "No way!" And we never. He believes me now, but at the time he was like, "There's no way."
Thank you, Internet.
Thank you, Internet.
The first, I weirdly didn't see that cut until I was early 20s. And it was a bootleg DVD from China that my buddy had.
What?
And and it was the only version of the film on the bootleg DVD from China was that one cut, and I was like, yeah, what is this? Because it was before the DVD. It was before the DVD actually even came out.
It's because octopus is big in China.
I mean, it is. It's
a delicacy. But I remember watching the movie without knowing about that cut, before I'd seen that cut when I was a kid, and Data at the end is yelling out, "There was a giant octopus," and I just remember that line because it just didn't. Like, it was just like out of the blue, They never cut it out of the movie, which is totally fine. It just is him like spouting off about stuff. But then to see that there actually was one, it changed my world.
Right. Right, that line always did feel weird, and you're like, there wasn't an octopus, yeah, right. And then, sure enough, there was an octopus.
Sure enough,
they're like, the movie's too long, Steven. We need to cut something, and he's like, the octopus. No kid likes octopus.
Should we cut the line where they talk about it? Nope.
Nope.
They probably had one take. They probably had one take of that group scene.
Because afterwards they killed half the kids.
Wow! No,
they Artaxed the kids.
They actually lost the goon. They actually lost the Goondocks. The builders came in and buried the kids on accident.
Not true. I've been to the house. Too. It's still there.
That's why there's no Goonies too.
There is a Goonies too. It's coming in 2026 or whatever.
Yeah. I'm curious about that.
I'm going to tell you, I think there's one thing that I would bet on, which is it's going to be a more complex plot. That's for sure.
Is it going to be them? Is it going to be like Sean Astin and all them, like as adults?
Yeah.
They're not going to like recap. All right, good. But is Corey Feldman coming back?
He might be too busy with his singing career.
He's just sitting there with his shirt off, soloing the whole movie.
But
with his long flowing hair.
That
they probably will do something like that. That would be so funny.
That'd be amazing.
The jail is like a memorial museum for the movie now.
Oh, so you've been?
Like, yeah. So, yeah. Me and my partner and we only had her 2 kids at the time, and one of the older one wanted a trip for Christmas, but he wanted to go to Astoria to go to this like weird jewelry shop that had a location down there, that they had a location up in Washington. So we booked a trip entirely around going to that like jewelry thing. It just happened to be in Astoria. So we had a lot of fun there, because we went to the Goonies Museum, and we tried to go to the house, but the people who own the house were very mean. They don't own it now anymore. And
the town people
we weren't even the only people trying to like go up their driveway to see the house. But they were like coming home from the grocery store and like stopped at the hill and literally just waited for everybody to leave. And it was like, I'm like, how do you buy this house and then be like, nobody can look at my house without me or but me? And it's like, come on.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I would have embraced it. You got to embrace it.
You have to.
It's like buying the Full House and then getting mad because people are stopping.
Joey weirdly still lives in the basement. Anyway, it was actually part of the terms and conditions of the house. Is that he just lives there. Dave Coulier.
It's rent controlled, so he's not moving.
Did the gift shop, the Goonies gift shop, have little miniature statues of David?
Oh,
I don't remember.
That's
wrong
mom's favorite part.
No, that's my mom's favorite part.
They had
glued upside down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I want to say they had something. I don't remember specifically what because it was like 5 years ago now. But what I do remember is like you could take pictures in the jail cells, like like everything looked exactly like it did in the jail sequence at the beginning. And then they actually sell replica coins.
Oh
So I
yeah,
picked up a handful of like
like treasure.
yeah, they sell like you know how like when they have like the when they're playing with the gold at the end there it's like it's got the pirate face or the skull face on it. Uh
Yeah,
so they sell replica stuff like that. So I picked up a whole handful of it. Um
I'm making a scene because um
Oh, there you go.
yes,
The key.
that's so good.
there I'm looking through it. It's
Oh.
supposed to be for soda. It's a soda opener, but you
Oh,
know.
that's awesome. That's super cool.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway,
Uh
so you bought a bunch of Goonies shit stuff.
oh yeah, no. We picked up I picked up a shirt. I think my now 11-year-old had a shirt. He doesn't fit it anymore. But I picked up some coins. I think I picked up a replica um key as well. I don't
Sweet.
remember what happened to that. But it was a very good trip. We didn't drive down to the beach that they're at because that's not anywhere near it apparently. But it was Astoria is a really nice place, and there's a very like it's got one of those weirdly large bridges to get over to it. So you go up like you're driving up a skyscraper, and then you go over water, and then you go down like you're driving down a skyscraper. It's nuts. But it was a lot of fun. 10 out of 10 would gladly gladly go again. But yeah, uh, it's a lot of fun.
Hopefully the new owners rate it 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah,
Everybody on their lawn.
They should rent it out. They should Airbnb it.
Right.
They should make it
that's
like an escape room, like a Goonies escape room where you can stay overnight,
That'd
and find
be
treasure.
fantastic. See, the
That'd be
problem
great.
is,
That'd be
like,
great.
with all this stuff, is all these like iconic houses. The insides are not what was on TV. You know, they use the outside of the house for like establishing shots, and the inside is all fake sets and all that stuff. And I feel
not
like that'd be
always.
It is
not
not.
always,
Everything
but
is
I feel like
always real, Mike.
it is. Like you see
Stop.
people like try and like for when they try and draw like Seinfeld's apartment, and like the hallway can't exist because of the way his kitchen and everything is lined up, or the Boy Meets World house, how they're like, where the fuck is the front door? Like
Is there
nothing
no
makes
front
sense.
door?
Well, no,
Oh,
it's
that's
just
funny.
if you look, like the way it's filmed is, it's like it seems like a long house like this. So you have like the front door, and then like the living room, and then a patio, and then the kitchen, and then there's a door out the kitchen where they play basketball. But then you look at the house, and it's not set up like that at all. And like there's people who have like drawn maps online trying to figure out how the Boy Meets World house logically fits with the like outside establishing shots.
Can you imagine a bunch of grown-ass men worrying about what the Boy Meets World house looks like?
Yes.
They should be spending their time doing podcasts and talking about things like Goonies and Neverending
Right.
Story.
But we have other things to do in our free
I
time.
just,
I mean,
Yeah, we can't
I was
record
just like,
24/7. Okay.
for a second, I was like, what nerds? They're drawing the Boy Meets World house and figuring out that it doesn't work here on a podcast where we're just talking about
Yeah, right.
going to see where Goonies was filmed. Yeah,
To
so
be fair, I'm not drawing
please,
them, but I would.
all you
right?
Boy Meets fans, world, please don't dox me. Please don't swat me.
It's actually
Just so we're clear, Mike and I have actually both absolutely love Boy Meets World and everybody that's on it.
Hmm.
And Like, would gladly be any single one of them at a convention. Mike,
I
Mike, you
never
met Will,
watched
right?
it.
Yeah, I met Will Friedle.
So I mean, it was a very interesting show, especially for the time, because it came out in like the early 90s, and they touched on things that a lot of other shows just weirdly weren't set up for. And the show obviously changed over time, and but it was a lot of fun, and I think having a relatively consistent cast also helped the show for the most of it.
It was on for, I just looked it up. It was on for 7 years, from 93 to 2000.
Yeah,
And
had
what
a
really
long run.
stands out to me is that one of the producers had produced Dinosaurs, the
Yes.
show,
I love that show.
which I love.
One of my
Every once in a go ahead.
Huh? No, what were you gonna say?
Every once in a while on my Instagram feed, I come up with a reel that plays the last bit of the last episode where they're all like,
with the meteor.
The asteroid hit, the meteor hit. And they're like, dinosaurs have been around for 150 million years. We're not going anywhere. And show ends. It's like it's a sitcom about dinosaurs, and they chose to end it in the most historically accurate way they could possibly have ended it.
I mean, that's a badass way to end it.
It's so good.
Like,
I'm so glad they did it, because we're
poetic.
still talking about it.
It's poetic.
Just so
right?
we're clear,
Now,
that's what I was going to say too.
If they would have ended Friends the same way with a big old meteor, that would have been great.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Especially
Are
if
Ross
it
and
only
Rachel
went
going to be
7 seasons.
together?
Boom.
Boom. They're fused together.
Now they can't go on. They can't be on a break.
They're one.
They're one now.
But no, Dinosaurs was an absolute. I absolutely loved Dinosaurs as a kid. I remember watching that finale and being like, "What did I just watch?" Because I'm still. You're right. I'm still talking about that thing 30 years later.
Can you believe it was only on? It was only on for 3 seasons.
3? I thought it was 4.
Or maybe 4. 91 to 94.
I think
seasons 4.
The only reason I have any knowledge, I know exactly how many, is because it came out in 2 DVD box sets that are over there.
What?
And it's one. Yeah.
Not VHS? Come on, Nick.
Look, some things I have to have on DVD. I'll go buy. Huh?
I said you're such a millennial.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go bust out my laser discs. You shut your mouth.
Well, now you're.
You missed. You undershot and overshot. Thank you. You gotta get that. Gotta get in the middle, bud.
It's that sweet spot, man.
Laser discs are newer than VHS. So, you know.
Are you? That was like half a question, half a statement.
That's how I talk most of the time. Is that a question?
Because if I'm wrong, it was a question. If I'm right, it was a statement.
It was a statement. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault you heard it wrong and interpreted my inflection in a different way.
But fun. Those are both ABC shows. ABC did everything they wanted in the 90s, and it was fantastic.
Now it's just Dancing with the Stars.
Ugh.
No, it's also Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I think there's a new one, Golden Bachelorette in Paradise or some crap. I don't know what it was. Like, I turned on Hulu and it was like, what? It was like
Golden
some new Bachelor.
Yeah, Golden Bachelorette's in Paradise, and then you just cut to the Golden Girls sitting on a beach. They're just like swiping. No.
It's actually just Blanche. She's the only one that would be on it.
They're just sending them all
They're doing a
over.
reboot of that too, aren't they?
Oh God.
The Golden Girls. I think it's the Golden Gays. Honestly, I think it's a bunch of guys.
I thought it was like Maya Rudolph and like Tina Fey and
Oh
stuff.
come on, no. Oh.
Who were at the age that the original Golden Girls were when they were on the show.
They were so
which is
young.
horrifying. Yeah.
They
It's
were
like, how do you live
so
in a
young
retirement
on that
community
show.
at 51?
I saw a picture the other day that was saying Fred Savage is now the same age as the guy who played his dad on the Wonder Years was when the Wonder Years came out, and just showing like the side by side comparison. It's like, man, people are aging a lot differently now.
They are.
I saw one side by side with Paul Rudd and Wilford Brimley, both age 51.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
Wilford,
like Wilford
Brimley looks like he just emerged out of the inside of an oatmeal container, and
it's all a diabetes.
Diabetes. I just no. Age gracefully. I guess that's the lesson here, guys. Let's age gracefully.
I mean, there's so many. That's it. Is we got so many different things now to take care of us that we did in the 80s and 90s, to the point where, people are just gonna look young forever.
You know what's keeping us young? Nostalgia. They didn't have that in the 80s, man. That was not a thing.
They did. It was just for
no, it wasn't. They had PTSD and shit like
cigarettes. They had the nostalgia. It was just for drugs and cigarettes instead. They were like, "Oh man, when cocaine was legal."
They didn't have nostalgia in the 90s. They had PTSD. Well, we probably have PTSD. We just call it nostalgia because that's all we want to do is just escape.
Because we watch dinosaurs get blown up on Friday night sitcoms.
And Artax. And the swamps of
Artax. Those giant
we don't have PTSD of war. We have PTSD of
movies.
Childhood entertainment, yes.
Movies,
like
video games and
destroying NES cartridges because you hate them because they're so hard.
Never.
Having to blow on them because that's how you got it to work.
I want you to know that I still do that, and it works. Whoever came out and said that does not work is absolutely lying. Yeah. It works 100%. It works in my Retron on the original carts.
Ultimately there's like other ways to fix it, but it's the quick, easy way. The other one requires
other ways.
You could get a new 72-pin connector.
Blowing into it twice? Yes, I agree.
When it was really bad, you had to put the other cartridge on top, right? To hold it down.
What I just learned, like I was today years old, that you can put it into the original NES, so you have to push it down. Did you know that? It will just play. No. Yeah.
You
don't know how you push it in, push it down with the little door. Yeah. You can put it in, keep it right there. It's already connected. It will play. Popped up.
Dude, I'm done. Machado was a lie.
It was a total lie. It was a total lie. So, yeah. Other than that, how's your night going?
Nintendo was just fuck these kids. We're going to add another point of failure to this device.
Well, and it's so ridiculous because you know how the boxes that are this size, they had that little piece of styrofoam on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason they did that was so that it would look more like a VHS, more like VHS size, and that you'd feel like when you bought it, you feel like you were getting something more substantial than the small cart that was in there. So it was nothing but a marketing choice to do that because the Famicom, look how much smaller they are. Yeah. See, people in Japan didn't care. No. They're like, just give me the video game. So our childhood was a lie.
And now we have Switch games where the case is this big and
the Switch games like a Tic Tac.
And it's literally all of it is entirely superfluous because you could just download the game.
Well, I was gonna
You
say
can just buy it and
they
download it.
literally have Nintendo Switch boxes, and it's literally just a download code inside the freaking box.
Yeah. Well, it's
They
because
have
you
those
want to
for
have it.
PS3 too.
You want to have your
Yeah,
shelves. You want to have your
but then it's
stuff.
just it's an empty box sitting there, and it's pointless. It's pointless.
It's not
plastic. It's
because there's an entire community out there dedicated to creating covers for spare cases for digital only games.
I think the pendulum is swinging back to physical media, and I think part of it has to do with disappearing media digitally. But also, I think people just like to have physical.
yeah.
Like, they just like to hold stuff.
Yeah.
You can't take it from me. That's the problem, right? Like I've talked about it before. If you buy a movie on Amazon streaming services, you don't own the movie. You are permanently renting it from them until they lose the license. Same
You
with
own one
any
billionth of Amazon. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. And you don't own it. There's movies that don't exist on a streaming service. There's any number of things. Like, I own dinosaurs because until Disney Plus came out, it never would have thought I'd see that on a streaming service. You know, same with
Is it
my
streaming?
Caravan of yeah, it's on Disney Plus. And it took them a minute, but they finally got the Caravan of Courage and the 2 Ewok movies as well.
Battle for Endor.
Battle for Endor and the Caravan of Courage. They finally got
Talk
those.
about Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, and but like I have that DVD over there because I never thought I'd ever see that come out again. But you know, streaming services they have limit, and like you mentioned, they're pulling stuff off like after they've done it for a few years, and people are losing it, and you know, they're using it as a tax write off, which means immediately gets pulled from stores. You can't buy it.
Right.
The only thing that exists is the secondary
We're looking
market.
at you, Warner Brothers. Batgirl.
It's true.
Love you, Warner Brothers.
Disney did it too. Disney did it too with Willow, that TV show.
Yeah, like this sucks.
That's true.
This never happened. It's a Mandela effect. There was never a Willow TV show.
I do wish though they would like it's a revenue source to put some of this stuff out on physical media. So I don't know how it would be fun for me to have some like recent stuff like Beetlejuice.
It's showtime. Yeah!
The first movie is my favorite movie of all time.
I love it.
I have VHS up here that you can't see off screen. And I would love to have the new movie on VHS. And I'm sure somebody's going to do like a boutique one or whatever. But how cool would it be for Warner Brothers to just put out a Beetlejuice or like a box set of Beetlejuice?
Yeah!
You know, just to have on our shelves and have in our collections. I would like that.
What was it? They just did that with Terrifier 2. They put that on a VHS. And some of the communities I'm a part of, people are like, guys, it's there. Go get it now before everybody else does. And
I've seen those posts. Walmart has it right now. Go. There's blood in the aisles.
24 hours
clowns
later,
everywhere. It's just
24 hours later. I haven't been. The Walmart in my town completely out. They haven't gotten another copy yet that I've seen.
Jeez, eBay.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna go pay eBay prices.
So
I mean, it was $35 still. Like Walmart was selling it for $35, and it was a VHS. I was like,
to take it back for a second, have you watched the sequel yet?
To what?
Beetlejuice?
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
No.
Yes.
Okay. That brings back to what I said about them putting too much shit in movies nowadays, because there is
You're absolutely right. That's like my number one
there's two
example.
there's literally two characters at least that can be cut from that movie that probably would have saved them millions of dollars, and it would not change the plot or anything.
Beetlejuice and Lydia.
Yes, clearly. Speaking of which, when we were at GraniteCon this past weekend, there was a couple that were cosplaying as Beetlejuice and Lydia, and the guy that they were in the wedding outfits, and the guy that was Beetlejuice was handing out like little like plastic
red like
cockroaches. Yeah, and he's handing out little plastic cockroaches to everybody. Just he had like a
Did you get one?
full of them. No, I did not. I did not. Our buddy Troy Little told me about it though, and he got one. So I'm like, I gotta find him, and I couldn't. I didn't see him afterwards.
Fun.
I walked by. I didn't know he was handing them out. I did get a photo of him, but we were like on our way to go do something else, and ended up
until Troy told me that I didn't know he was giving them out. So I was like, I gotta find him now. It's so cool. But yeah, like even the girl dressed as Lydia had like the red wedding dress on and everything. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool.
If I cosplay, I would go as Adam Maitland, the khakis and the black and white check shirt, and the nose. And
I've seen those, and then the Gina Davis one and stuff like that. Those are pretty cool.
We actually just since it's Halloween season, we just showed that movie to my 11-year-old for the first time, and he loved it.
Beetlejuice, the first one?
Yeah, we just showed him Beetlejuice for the first time.
My 6-year-old has seen it about 5 times now.
We were talking. I did a different. I'm sorry, you guys. I did a different podcast. I promise never to do it again.
For sure.
But we talked all about Beetlejuice, and one of the things that came up was how much less of a sex pest he was in the sequel than he was in the original. And I'm so desensitized to that movie. I didn't never even think about it, but I'm like, yeah, he was very forward in the first movie, and now they've really softened the edges to make him
more likable,
more embraceable. Which is fine. That was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, he was like randomly grabbing ass and all that shit throughout the first movie.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I'd seen the movie, so there was a couple scenes I'm like, "Whoo, all right."
You remember he's going into Dante's Inferno room?
Yeah.
Imagine showing an 11-year-old that and having to explain what that is, Nick.
Oh, he didn't ask, so we didn't tell.
Good.
My 6-year-old has seen that movie about 5 times, and she has not asked. So,
yeah.
But she did get very, very angry with me and my wife for going to see the sequel without her. And I'm like, listen, I can show you this stuff at home. I don't think I can sneak a 6-year-old into a PG-13 movie and not get questioned. Okay,
you'll be fine, Mike, if she asks what's going on inside the Inferno room. Where you're going to get in trouble is when she asks who Dante is.
Right.
Dante
he's from Clerk, right?
He's a clerk, and he's not supposed to be here today.
Yes.
Listen, I'll have an answer for anything she asks. And if I run out of answers, then the answer is go ask your mother.
They did a lot of recording for Beetlejuice in Vermont, so like a couple hours away from us.
Yeah, my buddy actually built the sets.
What? Did he steal some stuff?
No, but he has a bunch of pictures of him like on the sets and stuff like that. And like, they built a house. They had to build the downtown area, and they had to build the bridge. So those are the three main sets.
Did they shrink him down so he could then also build like the little model version of it, or did they hire different people for that?
Probably different people. He's a carpenter, so I don't think that translates as well to little dowels and popsicle sticks and
tiny carpentry.
Yes.
What they did was they actually went and got Wayne Zielinski. And they brought him there, and they
Honey, I Shrunk the Crew. Down. Let's go.
Exactly. Was that the 5th Honey, I Shrunk the Kid? Honey, I Shrunk the movie? 4th?
No,
I
it's
don't know.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 2, then it's Honey, I Blew
No,
Up the Baby.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Honey, We
So
Shrunk
yeah,
Ourselves.
so
Yeah.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah. So it was like
Yeah.
That
4.
was the sequel. And then Honey, We Shrunk
Yeah.
Ourselves was one of them. And then Honey, We Shrunk Our Budget was the straight to streaming one.
Well, then there was that whole sequence, there was that whole video that they did for Disney World, and that was there for a long period. Honey, We Shrunk the Audience.
I forgot about that.
But then there was the whole play set at MGM Studios where you played around in you could play around in a gigantic like yard as a playground.
That's right. I remember.
So it was actually in 2 theme parks.
It was a big deal.
Talking about an adventure, like what kid did not want to fly in the back of a bumblebee or ride in the back of an ant?
Well, they made an entire superhero about it. His name's Ant-Man, bud.
Yeah, yes, that's what I mean. But what kid wouldn't want to?
You just got Marvel-splained, Mike.
Marvel-splained.
Not to be confused with.
You should copyright that.
Yeah, Marvel.
Let me Marvel-splain you. That's my new podcast. Let me Marvel-splain you.
Explain this Marvel character to me like I am 4 years old.
Well, actually, it was Howard the Duck, and he was a duck, and he slept with a human, and nobody knows how it happened. But now we have a lot of Howard the Ducklings, and it's a new Disney Plus. Coming to Disney Plus in 2025. Howard the Ducklings. Can we talk about
it's funny that...
Neverending Story?
You want to talk about the you want to talk about the laser-eyed guardians there? Because that was always freaky.
The boob sphinxes?
Yeah. Yeah.
That probably was the moment that I realized that I just wasn't interested in them because it was more, I was terrified of them. But it was sexual identity psychoanalyze myself back then. I'm like, well, that makes a whole lot of sense now. They shoot lasers, so I get it. That's why I'm afraid. But it was weird. It was weird, and it was a kids' movie.
The whole I was thinking about it recently, completely before I realized we were talking about it. I was thinking about it, I was like, there's a lot of similarities in this and Princess Bride where it's just like there's a lot of movies where kids just read books and then we go into like a fantasy world, like way more than one would think.
That's probably was my strongest draw to the movie because I was such a reader when I was a kid. I read all these books and I would want to get lost in these bookstores and that sort of thing. So
did you read the Neverending Story book?
It's not a book. That's only in the movie.
No, it was a novel.
It's a book that they turned into a movie. I'm totally
gaslighting both of you guys right now.
No, we're gaslighting you. There really isn't a novel.
Oh my God, we're gaslighting each other. This is just. It really
gaslightingception.
Yes, it really takes a lot of talent to cross gaslight. It really does.
Fantastic.
So kudos, guys. Yes,
it's funny that three guys.
Only one of us is a real writer.
It's funny that 3 guys in their 40s are
speaking
talking
of gaslighting.
It's not who you'd guess. Follow and click to find out, or whatever. I don't know. Click to find out more. I don't know.
Later, we're gonna gaslight you into thinking you had fun tonight with us.
I'm already there. We got it. We're good.
Yes.
So I know. So I yes, it exists as a real book before it was a movie about a book that was
about a movie about
fantasy.
A book.
Yes.
Right.
No, I never read it. Well, the one I'm in the middle of right now, and I haven't picked up in a while, but it's The Last Unicorn. So I'm reading the original book that the movie was based on. It's so similar. It's wild.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Similar to the movie adaptation, or similar to the Neverending Story? Okay, I've never seen that cartoon, so
similar to the Neverending Story.
Mike,
I saw Watership Down. Okay,
we will sit here for 1 hour and 36 minutes. Go.
You know the exact time. You're like, bam.
I don't know.
But what if I skip? What if I skip the credits? Right? What does that cut down to?
1 hour and 31 minutes and 42 seconds.
Listen,
go.
I think as long as you don't give a round number, anyone will believe you. Like, do you have an hour and 26 minutes and 13 seconds? Mike, I'm about to blow your mind.
This isn't my first rodeo. This is my 17th and a half rodeo because we're only halfway through this. No, but I never. Have you guys read the Neverending Story, the book?
No,
I'm not a reader.
Yeah, I figured.
Like,
let
me rephrase that. I read. Let me rephrase that. Hey,
fucking roast your ass.
Wow.
I'm totally joking. Oh, Nick. Oh, boy.
Show.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm really enjoying my last appearance on this podcast. This is great.
First and last. But we are gluttons for punishment, so probably not. Anyway, no, like reading, I was not a reader, but I was also not a kid who wanted to read things that were forced on me. So like I read Goosebumps books straight up until like I was like 14. And then they were like, you need to read these books. I was like, I do not. Movies exist of those books. I will watch those. So, you know.
You entered the conversation like it was a negotiation.
Yeah. I watched A Scarlet Letter to write about that book and whatnot. And
I love, have you seen the movie Easy A?
Yeah.
It's so good. I love it when they're discussing the Scarlet Letter and the teacher's like, asking him to do a book report on it, and he's like, I swear to God, if one more person mentions the bathtub scene with Demi Moore, I'm gonna shoot myself in the head.
It's true. But no, like I realized that I like comic books, so I read those. So I did read a lot of comics. It turns out kids and podcasts weirdly take up a lot of time to the point where I don't get to read a lot of comic books anymore. So I'll make you feel the best that you felt all day. I do not have kids. I do not have a podcast, and I barely read stuff. So
it's because you're busy writing it.
I was gonna say, yeah, but you're
too busy writing it.
You're like, I don't want to read that.
Is that? I'm not just sitting around watching YouTube videos. I shouldn't be.
I don't know what you do while you write.
The height of irony. ChatGPT. Can you write me a novel about blah 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 blah? And you write a novel to tell ChatGPT to write you a novel. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
It's like the hand drawn the hand.
That's great. That's a meme. My first thought was to put that on the internet. God.
Can we ask ChatGPT to write the notes of ChatGPT?
When people take like a Google and Amazon like Echo and have Google and Alexa like talk to each other.
People do that?
Yeah, people have done that before. Get them in like an infinite loop with each other.
God. And then they both explode.
Yeah.
That's going to be the way to stop the robot uprising. Just putting two facing each other.
Yes. That's why there's only going to be one T-1000 that comes and kills us all.
And then another one. And then another one. And then a T-2000. And then a T-500. And T-800. Over and over and over again.
Oh, man.
But it's actually just all Robert Patrick this time.
But I did want to talk about, before we go, my favorite moment in the movie was in Neverending Story was the last episode of Stranger Things in season 3. That's my favorite moment of Neverending Story. Was Stranger Things. Did you watch Stranger Things?
I did. I clearly don't remember.
Oh my God, I think it's my favorite moment of all of television. Happened at the end of the last episode where they sang the song to each other over the radio.
It's true.
Dustin.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They,
Dustin and his
they
girlfriend.
realized he has a real girlfriend. They're like, holy crap, she's real.
And then they sang this song, and I lost my shit because I love the movie. I love the movie, and I love Stranger Things, and to have them do that in that moment when it so inappropriate in the midst of everything, everybody's about to die, and they're like, "Hold on, fanboys, turn around and tell me what you see." And it was, God, it just made me love the movie so much more.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did it ever come out why we had 3 different Bastions? Like, why did we keep changing the cast for
contract negotiations?
Well, I just think that they were creative choices. I know who's the actor from the second one?
Jonathan
Passed
Brandis.
away. Jonathan Brandis passed away, so he might have been gone before the
third one.
The third one, 94. Well, I think he passed away after that, but I think it's just creative choices, and they just keep recasting them. I'm surprised we haven't had more talk about Neverending Story, a new one.
I think that's actually something I think might benefit a lot from like newer technology, is something along those lines. Doesn't somebody famous have one of the Falcor heads too?
Hmm?
I saw a photo of somebody had someone in their garage.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I thought it was somebody famous though, or something. Somebody who's, I don't know. I'm trying to remember where it was, because it was interesting, but it's interesting. It's some random dude also has it.
It's mounted.
Is it you?
It's mounted. Should I turn my camera and show you?
Oh,
My
nice
luck
wooden plaque.
dragon. There's only 3 luck dragons that exist in Fantasia, and this was one of them.
And
that suspiciously looks like a puppy. No, it's a dragon. So my favorite thing, I'm probably going to use this in your cold open, but my favorite thing is when Family Guy did a parody of it. Have you seen that clip?
We're going down, Peter.
Yeah, I can't keep this up, big guy. Yeah, we're going down.
Peter, we're going down. Yeah. Oh my God, it's my favorite. We do that all the time.
I love that clip.
All the time.
Good.
Whenever anything is collapsing, we're going down, Peter.
So many things.
I think we can wrap up this episode by all of us agreeing that the parts we love about Neverending Story the most are the subsequent pop culture references to Neverending Story.
Yeah!
Yes.
Having not watched the movies for a minute, that's probably fair.
Listen, I'll end my part with, I might have said that it did not connect with me as an adult, but there's
because you've lost your childlike wonder.
But yes,
90 minutes, Mike. That's been sitting with you. That's been sitting with you for 90 minutes. I'm so glad you act. We just euphemistically say you should think about what you've done, and you've sat here and you've thought about it.
No. But what I'm saying is there is a testament to the movie because, from when I was a kid till now, I always knew Bastian, Atreyu, the Childlike Empress, Falcor, Fantasia, all that stuff, right? So even if I disconnected with it as an adult, there's still all that nostalgia for me, and there is something about it where it's in my core memory, where it's a part of me.
You are like the beginning of the sequel that they're going to film right now. You have lost your childlike, sense of wonder, and you're going to stumble on this book, and you're going to go on a giant fantasy adventure, and you're going to rediscover why you love everything that was, and will be Fantasia.
They cast me as Bastian. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I thought they were gonna cast you as a guy who abducts a child to tell him the story of Neverending Story.
Here's the movie. Are you ready? Here's
This isn't
the
the
movie.
Princess Bride.
You did this adventure. You are Bastian, and now all you do is abduct kids and put them in your basement and force them to read Neverending Story so that you can find a way to get back to Fantasia because that was the best your life was ever gonna be.
Or no, flip it around. Bastian was stuck in Fantasia for so long that he's all jaded. So now he abducts kids and puts them in the book. He's like, now you'll know my torture. I was lost in that book for fucking 15 years. It's like Jumanji.
Are we going the opposite direction? And instead of redoing it in a Childlike Wonder way, we're pulling a Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movie. Yeah, is that what we're doing?
Blood and Dragons. Neverending Story. Blood and Dragons. Falcor's actually fucking eating everybody.
Bastian Dahmer. We find out Bastian's last name is Dahmer.
Oh my god.
Falcor's head. It's Falcor's head, and you pull back, and it's like all the other characters' heads.
Or is it Atreyu as like an adult, and he's wearing Falcor's head as like a headdress after he slayed him?
Cut him open to stay warm for the night.
It's like Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder when he kills the panda.
Now that we have completely destroyed Neverending Story.
I mean, I think the third one did that.
That's not fair. It has a place in someone's heart.
I mean, it was interesting to see Free Willy Kid do things outside of Free Willy, but that's it.
As opposed to there wasn't much to do inside Free Willy, so
you just sat there and get
digest.
No, he got to touch the underside of the whale as he jumped over him.
I think there was a Family Guy cutaway where he got squashed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Family Guy cutaways like that.
Yes. All right.
But now I want to go watch.
This conversation was not what I expected. It went so off the rails in such a good way.
It was so much worse and so much better than we could have ever hoped.
At the same time, it's amazing how
You're
life works out.
22-second supercut.
Neverending Story doesn't hold up. Gonna kill you. Bye.
Falcor's head.
Yeah.
Every time he does that, just splice in Falcor's head like over there.
And listen, anytime we don't talk about Neverending Story in this episode, I'm gonna just replace it with the clip of Peter on Falcor. So it's gonna be us saying something about Neverending Story, then it's Peter, yeah. Back to us saying something about.
I think that's copyright. That
it's
I don't.
So
want.
Funny.
No.
Please do it. Please do it.
Maybe. I'll make a reel promoting the episode, and it'll just be that for like a minute straight. But
yeah, definitely right. Godspeed editing this.
Before we let you go, David.
Peter. Yes.
Shut up. Before we let you go, why don't you tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find you, and all the good jazz?
Well, I'm going into hiding after this, so you won't be able to find me anywhere. So what do I got going on? So I actually write stuff for a living. Nick alluded to that before he said he hates books and reading. So let me.
I did.
So I am currently working on the All Ages Fantasy Canto, which is very much in the vein of everything that we've been talking about, minus the child abductions, the cannibalism, and the duck sex. It turns out it's definitely it's an all ages.
I was so bummed there wasn't any in there.
I don't know. I got some pitches for some new stories now after this. But anyway, so Canto, all ages
You're
story
welcome.
about it's like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Neverending Story, kind of a darkish fantasy, but good for all ages. I write Ghostbusters for Dark Horse, so we just finished up the first arc. We're going to be doing the second arc coming out to be announced. We haven't said it yet, and a bunch of creator-owned stuff that I'm working on. And you can find me on all of the social medias. I'm most active on Instagram. That's where I will be screenshotting clips of this against the audio of "We're going down, Peter." Yay!